Hello and good evening everyone, and welcome to this session of the customs duty. And yes, good evening Sailuthra, good evening Rajalakshmi, good evening Zanab, Deepan, Anuraj, Kirti, Mansi, Varshini. Good evening everyone and welcome to this live session of the customs duty this time. Yes, one of the most important topics of your syllabus, and yes, a question from custom duty will definitely come in your examination. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys see me? Please confirm if I'm audible and visible to all of you. Sir, आज हम कुछ नहीं बोलेंगे आपको. साई लूथरा, इतना सारा तो तुमने बोल दिया that I'm scary और पता नहीं क्या क्या, और तुम कह रहे हो कुछ नहीं बोलेंगे. काजल गॉड से गुड इवनिंग. विशाल, लावण्या, audible and clear, sir, says Akanksha. Aku. So yes, guys, today we are going to start one of the most important topics of your syllabus, which is the customs duty. And yes, customs duty is a very, very, very important topic, not only from an exam standpoint, but from the national integrity standpoint. The borders of the country are the riskiest part in any country. The borders means the coastal areas, the ports, they are very, very risky because those are the sources of pilferation in the country. So if any terrorist activity needs to be initiated in the country, then these borders are to be absolutely secured. So custom duty is an act which not only plays an active role in ensuring that the revenue is collected, the taxes are collected, but also the national security and integrity of the country also depends on a very efficient customs mechanism. So we're going to start this particular chapter today. And yes, very, very, very important for all of you for CMA Intermediate and Final level students. Good evening, Nishant. Good evening, sir. I'm from Tamil Nadu. I follow your cost audit classes regularly, and now this marathon lecture is very useful for me as it is in English. Thank you so much, Gomti Niveda. Gomti Niveda, thank you so much. Yes. सर टोटल कितना टाइम लगेगा ये रिवीजन में? जितना टाइम आप लगाओगे इस रिवीजन में उतना अच्छा भाई. जितना टाइम आप लगा सकते हो उतना टाइम लगाओ, उतना अच्छा. But yes, revision in itself is not sufficient unless and until you do the entire concepts of entire practical questions as well, okay, and do these concepts in detail, okay. This marathon revision will assist you in last moment revision, but you cannot say that we will only see marathon, sir. We will not see anything else, and we will go in the examination, appear in the examination, we will not see anything else. You cannot say this, okay. Yes, absolutely, guys. IDT's GST is completed yesterday. Now we are starting customs duty. Okay. So, guys, customs duty, as I've already told you, this act is not only relevant from a tax revenue standpoint, but it is also the customs of the country are also, an integral part of ensuring that the security of the country is foolproof. The security of the country is intact. The security of the country is not compromised at any stage. And that is the relevance of the customs department. So custom duty is created, the laws are created with a view of collecting taxes as well as to ensure that national security is not compromised at any point in time. Because the borders of the country are the only sources from where pilferage can happen, from where terrorist activities can sleep in, some unethical means like narcotics, drugs can enter into the country. All these things are to be vigilantly seen by the customs authority. So yes, customs duty serves a very, very important purpose. Customs Act, Custom Department serves a very, very important purpose of ensuring that the national integrity of the country remains intact. That is very, very, very important. Okay, sir. So we got the basic concept. So guys, let's start with the types of custom duty. So first thing that we are going to study is types of custom duty. How many types of custom duties are there? How many customs duties are actually there in our syllabus? Guys, I'll tell you, customs duty which are there are many, absolutely many, but the ones which are there in our syllabus, I will focus only on those custom duties. But custom duty is not a singular act. Is not a singular duty. It comprises of many duties which are under purview of customs duty. But in our syllabus, there are primarily these kind of custom duties which are there. First one is the basic custom duty. We call it as BCD. Basic custom duty is derived in a section 2, and it has two schedules, first and second. First deals with the imported goods, second deals with the exported goods. So the import duty is as per section first schedule, and export duty is as per the second schedule. That is the basic custom duty. Then the second duty is additional custom duty. ACD is the name, and this is a duty to compensate the IGST. So GST, which is applicable on the goods which are moved interstate within the country, those IGST rates are applicable as additional custom duty. So I've already told you guys, in case of zero rated supply, which means exports, GST is not leviable. But yes, in case of imports, at least GST is leviable, which is as per the rates of the normal GST, which is leviable at by the name of additional custom duty. So second custom duty is additional custom duty. In short, it is known as ACD. Third is GST compensation cess. We have already studied about this cess. This cess was introduced to compensate the source states. Source state means, so GST is a destination-based taxation, and the right to collect revenue, right to receive revenue lies with the destination state. So guys, source state needs to be compensated, and source state is compensated using the GST compensation cess, which is levied and given to the source state. So GST compensation cess is one of the custom duties. Then we have protective duty, safeguard duty, countervailing duty, and anti-dumping duty. These four duties are actually designed to stop or to control the interest or protect the interest of certain players in market. Because import duties are not only levied for the purpose of collecting taxes, but also to regulate certain unethical things which are happening in the country. So these four type of duties are, the nature of these duties is that these duties are levied to control or to protect the interest of the residents of that particular country, which is India in our case. So these four duties are to be discussed by us in detail from this particular chart. Okay. So where is the types of custom duty? Yes, this is the types of custom duty. Okay. Now I want to read these four types of custom duties very well. Okay, sir. So let's come on to the protective duty. First one is the protective duty. Okay. What is protective duty? Protective duty is a duty which protects the interest of industry which is established in India. Protective duty is a duty which protects the interest of the industry which is established in India. So guys, many a times what happens is that the industries which are there in India, the businessmen which are there in India, that particular businessman faces some threat from imports which are happening from outside the country. Okay. Now those threats which are there in the industry which is existing in India, if that industry feels that Indian market will devastate because of those imports, then they can approach the tariff commission, and the tariff commission, after considering the case, can levy protective duty on the goods which are imported from some other country. I'll give you a simple example, guys. Okay. Now suppose HP, Hewlett Packard, has a pact with government of India that we are going to supply laptops into India at a very, very reasonable rate, at a very, very reasonable price. And this pact was a very, very old pact which was there between India and Hewlett Packard. Now, Chinese companies started supplying laptops to India at a very, very reasonable rate, a very, very throwaway price rate, substantially reduced rate. They just supplied goods to India. Now, if the entire customer base in India will shift to the Chinese-based products, then Hewlett Packard will have a huge loss in the country. In that case, Hewlett Packard and other laptop owners can approach the tariff commission, and they can request that the imports which are done from China are absolutely very, very low quality, and it will also not be biodegradable. It will be a waste which will be harmful for the country and the environment, and therefore this industry needs to be protected. Once they approach the tariff commission will decide whether the harmful effects of this particular industry is there or not. And if the answer is yes, then protective duty is levied. So protective duty is levied on any industry which is established in India, on which there is some harm which is expected, on which there is some problem which is expected due to some imports or export activities. Second duty is safeguard duty. Now, what is safeguard duty? Safeguard duty is the measures which are levied in case an article is imported into India in increased quantity. Now, guys, please note that protective duty was industry based and safeguard duty is article based. So if a particular article is imported into India in huge quantity, the quantity is a lot. Okay. If in huge quantity an article is imported into India, then it is expected that it will cause serious injury to the domestic market. Domestic market will be ruined because of the huge amount of imports of this particular product. So we are now basing our duty on the basis of product and not industry. We are not talking about the industry. We are talking about certain product. Okay. In this case, guys, when there is serious injury which is expected to happen in domestic industry, the government may levy safeguard duty, because government wants to ensure that the local artisans, the local manufacturer of that particular product which are there in India, they should not be under a harmful effect of these imports. So imports cannot be unreasonably large in this particular case. So it will cause serious injury to the domestic industry. If this is proved, then safeguard duty is levied. Safeguard duty shall not be levied in case of imports from developing countries if the following conditions are satisfied. So if the import is made from developing countries, guys, this is a way to promote developing countries and to promote the economy of the developing countries. So if any import is happening from a developing country, then even if it is of a high quantity, then also the safeguard duty will not be employed if the following conditions are satisfied. Where the article is originating from one developing country, if the article is originating from one of the developing countries, then the share of imports of that article from that country does not exceed 3% of the total imports of that article into India. So the total amount of import which is permitted from developing countries, 3% of the total import. In case the article is being manufactured from more than one developing country, then the amount is increased to 9% of the total imports. So whatever is the total import of that particular product, 3% or 9% respectively is the threshold beyond which you cannot import from a developing country. Up till this limit, the import can be done from a developing country, and that import is exigible to the is not exigible to the safeguard duty. But if the imports are more than 3% and more than 9% respectively, then guys, safeguard duty is to be levied in case of such goods which are imported in heavy quantity, and it is expected that these are going to have serious repercussions on the Indian industry. Now, what is provisional safeguard duty? Now, guys, we have this concept of provisional duties in all our duties. Okay, so I'll explain this particular concept. What is provisional duty? So, guys, when a good is imported into India, then at that point in time, you need some time to at least prove that this good is going to cause serious injury to the local market. You need some time to prove this. Okay. During that time, if that good is permitted to be imported into India at a lower rate of duty, then guys, the purpose will be defeated. So what is the remedy with Government of India? Government of India, till that intervening time, from the date when the goods are imported till the time when it is ascertained what safeguard duty is to be applied on this particular good, till that time they can have a provisional safeguard duty, which is a tentative or an expected safeguard duty, which is to be paid by the importer. From which tenure? From the tenure when the goods are imported till the time when the duty is ascertained fully. During that period, provisional safeguard duty is required to be paid. Within 200 days, the decision should be taken by the government that what is the amount of safeguard duty which is to be levied. Within 200 days, if decision is not communicated or not taken, then the provisional duty will get revoked. And provisional duty, if on the final determination, at the time of final determination, if it is concluded that safeguard duty is not required, then the safeguard duty is to be refunded. So anything can happen, guys. Government can come to a conclusion, no, this product is not causing any damage to the Indian industry, then the provisional duty is to be refunded back. Okay. But if government is of an opinion that no, this is causing some mishap in the domestic industry, then the Government of India will levy this provisional duty, but the time limit given to Government of India is only 200 days. Within 200 days, the adjudication is required to be done. Okay, sir, got it? What is the duration of imposition of safeguard duty? It is till 4 years, the safeguard duty can be levied, and after 4 years, it is automatically revoked. Yes, this time period can be extended to 10 years if permission is taken from the central government. So guys, the idea is that, if after 4 years, the entire ecosystem will change in the country, and, those companies which are actually supplying these particular products, they will no more be in that monopolistic condition which they are in currently, because there will be many domestic players who will be raising up during this period. So This duty is only leviable up to 4 years, but can be extended up to 3 years, but can be revoked at any point in time. Now we come to the next duty, which is countervailing duty. Okay, CVD. It is the countervailing duty on subsidized articles. So guys, sometimes what happens is the government of certain countries take an active role in tax evasion. How? Guys, a certain government, like this Japanese government will provide huge subsidy on certain goods which are imported into India. The idea is that those goods should flood the Indian market and the Indian consumer should get used to those goods. So government will tell the Japanese industry that, look, Japanese industry, if you supply these products to India and all over Asia, we will give you a subsidy. We will give you a lesser price so that your profits are increased. Now guys, due to that, price of that particular product reduces a lot. Okay. Now if price reduces, then it's a big loss to the country where these goods are being exported to. Now to counter this effect, countervailing duty is levied. It is levied in the following cases. Any country pays any subsidy on the manufacture and export of certain articles, and these articles are imported into India. Then countervailing duty, which means CVD, can be easily applied. एस्टिमेटेड होता है ना ये परसेंटेज, मतलब लास्ट ईयर के इंपोर्ट पर परसेंटेज फाइंड करेंगे. यस, एब्सोल्युटली, ये एक एस्टिमेटेड परसेंटेज होगा विच इज द प्रोविजनल ड्यूटी, और ये लास्ट ईयर के बेसिस पे या करंट ईयर के बेसिस पे डिसाइड करेंगे, और जब फाइनल हो जाएगा तो इसको रिवर्स कर देंगे या रिफंड कर देंगे. Yes, so what is this? This is a loss which is there to the Indian industry. The government is trying to make this loss. CVD is imposed at a rate amount not exceeding the amount of such subsidy. So subsidy amount should be given as the countervailing duty. Duration of imposition, it should be enforced till 5 years, extendable to another 5 years. Okay, sir. Okay. Now, sometimes what happens is, the duty is evaded. The duty is tried to be evaded using any of the 3 measures. What are the 3 measures? Altering the description or name or composition of the article. So, duty is trying to, we are trying to evade the duty, or the other person who's exporting the goods to India, he's trying to claim benefit of a lower duty by changing the description of name of the particular product. So suppose the product is heater, okay, room heater. However, geysers are being supplied in that particular piece. Okay, so when your name change, description changes or composition changes, then you try to evade tax using these things. Import of such article as an unassembled or disassembled form. If you import the article in a knockdown condition and assemble it in India, then also guys, the duty can be evaded. Then changing the country of origin or export. So sometimes what happens is that suppose the custom duty between Mauritius and India is 5%. Custom duty between USA and India is say 10%. So what will US do? US will first send the goods to Mauritius, and from Mauritius will come to India just to save the duty. If government catches you, in any of these 3 activities, then it will apply again countervailing duty to all of you. That is how countervailing duty is to be applied. Central government may extend CVD to such other articles also, as whatever government may feel CVD can be extended to other articles also. Okay, sir. Yes, provisional CVD features are there over here also. Till the time it is determined, the final is determined, a provisional amount can be recovered from the assessee, and that amount can be refunded if the final assessment is done. Now, anti-dumping duty. What is anti-dumping duty, guys? Anti-dumping duty means where the goods are dumped, are exported by an exporter for any country to India at less than its normal value. So what China has been doing for years now, what happens is that at a very, very throwaway price, at a very, very reduced price, the entire amount of duty is to be, the entire amount of price of that good is reduced to a very, very large extent. And this reduction in price leads to destruction of Indian industry. Once the Indian industry gets destructed, then guys, China can easily increase the prices of those goods. So this happens quite often, and to curb this phenomena of dumping goods at a very, very and at a very, very less price, to counter this effect, the anti-dumping duty is charged. So if a good is coming to India for 18 rupees and we find out that real price of this good is 30 rupees, then the countervailing duty will be added up to 12 rupees, and 30 rupees will be the price of this particular good. So whatever the exporter was trying to do, he was trying to cheat with India. He will not be able to cheat. Why? Because we have imposed countervailing duty, and the buyer will have to pay 30 rupees for this particular purchase. So that is the problem which is there with this duty, which is anti-dumping duty. Now yes, anti-dumping duty is levied at the margin of dumping, okay, and the margin of dumping is normal value less export price. Duration of imposition is 5 years, extendable up to further 5 years. Circumvention is possible. Yes, circumvention is possible if altering the description is leading into evasion of tax. Import of articles is unassembled and disassembled form, and country of origin is told as a lie. Okay, sir, got it. So yes, these were the types of duties, including the anti-dumping duties. And guys, a theoretical question from this particular chapter can come in your examination for sure. This is very, very important. So please prepare it well. A theoretical chapter can come from this particular chapter. All right, now coming on to the basic concepts, okay, of customs and the duties which are there, and what is the significance of all of this. Let's come on to this particular aspect of our syllabus. Okay, sir. Yes, guys. आज तो हमारा आईडीटी पूरा हो जाएगा. Yes, Mr. Pediwal. Mr. Pediwal is back. Mr. Pediwal is taking all of you to Manali trip. Yes, yes, yes. Hopefully आज आपका indirect tax खत्म हो जाएगा. GST खत्म हो गया, and custom duty will be trying. If you support me, then I will try to complete the custom duty today. So please write in the chat box. Will you guys support me? Are you guys supporting me? चाहे आज आधी रात हो जाए, हम कस्टम ड्यूटी खत्म करके जाएंगे. Are you guys supporting me? चाहे जितनी तेज नींद आए. Are you guys supporting me? Zainab is saying Amir Pediwal. Yes, Amir Pediwal. So will you guys support me today? Let us finish the entire customs duty. Will you support me today? Yes, of course. और क्या? Sai Luthra says. Sanjay says full support. Anurag says कल तक करिए ताकि आपको एक और दिन देख पाए. Suyesh says yes. Sai Luthra says वैसे भी लेट ही आती है नींद. अच्छा. Rajakshmi says yes, sir. Kirti Battara says yes, Guruji. Yes, now I am energized to complete the entire customs duty today. Absolutely done. Vishnu Prasad says yes. Mansi says yes. Kajal Godse says yes. Brilliant, guys. And where is Mr. Pediwal, who has initiated this thought? Mr. Pediwal, do you also agree that you will not sleep today unless and until we finish entire customs duty? Sanjay Sanju, Hindi nahi mallu, Hindi nahi malu. Full support, sir. कल कैसे मिलना है फिर आपसे? कल हम मिलेंगे वीडियो चैट पे, ठीक है, फोन में व्हाट्सएप चैट पे मिलेंगे. Yes, guys. Lavanya says full support. Okay, so let's start, guys. Next one is customs duty. Now, customs duty is actually the duty which is levied on import and export of goods. Now, there are two types of two ways in which custom duty is levied. It is specific duty and ad valorem duty. Specific duty is the duty when it is the amount is specified irrespective of the value of the good. So if the value of the good is 20 rupees, 30 rupees, 40 rupees, doesn't matter. The value, the duty is specified in terms of amount. Okay. For example, $1 per square. That is the duty which is fixed. Now that thing per square can be anything. It can be a 20 rupees cloth, or it can be anything which is specified. So the duty is not dependent on the price of the good. That is the basic criteria of specific duty. Specific duty is exactly fixed according to the dollars and rupees. That's it. It is not subject to the value of the good. That is the specific characteristic of specific duty. Okay. Then what is ad valorem duty? Ad valorem duty is duty which is dependent on percentage of value. Okay. The value of the good is say 20 rupees. Then the ad valorem duty will be say 10% of 20 rupees, which is 2 rupees. So ad valorem is when the duty value is dependent on percentage of value of import. Then it is known as ad valorem duty. So in Customs Act, there are two kinds of duties which can be levied on the exports and the imports. So they are levied on exports and imports. Okay, sir, got it? Yes, guys. So yes, we have seen that the duties are levied on various bases. Okay. Now, one very important distinction, guys, very, very important distinction on which, the customs duty is not applicable. It is the transshipment of good and transit of good. Transit of goods means that, the goods are passing by through the Indian territory and is going to some other country, and the goods are not being unloaded to Indian terrain, Indian soil. In that particular case, guys, when the goods are just passing through the Indian in the Indian area, then, guys, in that particular case, the duty is exempt. This is known as transit of goods. Transit of goods. The duty is not leviable in that case. Now, what is transshipment? Guys, transshipment means that the goods comes at the port of India, then they are transferred to another ship or another aircraft, and then they are sent to their destination. This is known as transshipment. So in case of transshipment also, the duty is not leviable. Of course, the proper officer will examine that it is actually transshipment, and then duty will not be available in that particular case. Okay, this is transit and transshipment. Now, for very, very important terminologies on which duty is leviable, custom duty is leviable: derelict, wreck, jetsam, flotsam. Now, these are ways in which sometimes the goods float into the Indian terrain. Okay, so there's a ship which has abandoned its goods. If the ship has abandoned its good, then it will float and come to inside the Indian territory. If they come inside the Indian territory, then, guys, this particular import is eligible for customs duty. So, sometimes the people who are living in the coastal area, they get some goods because ship has abandoned those goods in the ocean, and by floating they have come to the shores of the country, or the coastal areas of the country. In that case, the GST will be the customs duty will be leviable in all these four cases. Okay, sir, got it. Now, very, very, very important, guys, very, very important case. Okay, please listen to this very, very carefully. Now, there are certain cases on which custom duty is not leviable. There are certain cases on which custom duty is not leviable. There are four kinds of goods on which custom duty is not leviable. Please underline this word: not, or at reduced level. What are these four kind of things? So Zainab is saying, सर भी हमें अबंडन कर देंगे आज, फिर हम भी फ्लोट करेंगे इधर उधर उनकी गाइडेंस के बिना. Guys, my guidance is always there for you at any point in time on my mobile number, on my WhatsApp number. And yes, test series is going on, which will go on and on and on. So I'm not going to leave you until your examination. That is for sure. I am such a chepu teacher. I'm one of the most chepu teacher. I will not leave you till your examination. So don't worry about that. My guidance will always be there. It will always, always be there. Okay. So four kind of goods on which the duty is not leviable. What are those goods? Pilfered goods, reduced duty on damaged goods, damaged or deteriorated goods, then destroyed goods, and relinquishment of title on goods. These are four cases where custom duty is not leviable. Let me repeat all the four cases: pilfered goods, damaged goods, destroyed goods, and relinquishment of title. In these four cases, custom duty is not leviable. Now let's see what are these four cases. Okay, first one is pilfered goods. Guys, pilfered goods means the goods which have been stolen after unloading, but before the proper officer has made an order for clearance. So if your goods have been stolen, so sometimes what happens is goods get unloaded on the port. Okay, and on the port, the employees of the port or someone else who's accessing the port, he can actually steal the goods, steal a few products from your consignments. Sometimes it happens. This small stealing is known as pilferation. Now the importer requests the government of India that, dear government of India, I am at a loss. I am not I'm not able to really get my goods back. They are pilfered, they are stolen. In that case, please give me some relaxation on the customs duty. Please don't take customs duty from me. Please give me some relaxation on the customs duty. This is the thought which is given by that particular person to government of India, and government of India says, yes, absolutely, you should get some relaxation customs this thing, customs duty, because your goods are stolen. So these stolen goods are actually determinable, and after they are determinable, the government gives concession to you. They do not charge the custom duty on these goods. So these are pilfered goods, but the point of importance is that these goods should be stolen only between the stages of unloading and before order of clearance is passed by the proper officer. If the goods are stolen after the order is passed by the proper officer, then the duty is definitely leviable. So the period is very, very important. During which period government allows a reversal of duty in case of pilferage. That is very, very important. Okay. Now, coming on to the second case. Second case is damaged goods. When the goods are damaged or deteriorated. And guys, I will just now show you a diagram in which it will be very, very clear that at which stage which good is damaged, recovery will happen at which stage. So I'll show that particular chart to you in short while. Okay. Let us now study the damaged or deteriorated goods. In case of damaged or deteriorated goods, damage means the goods have developed some kind of lacuna, some kind of lack in them. They are broken, okay, or they are not in a workable condition, or they have deteriorated, which means their quality has reduced. So for example, my goods have been filled with water. I had imported some electronic items and water has flown inside electronic items, so they are non-usable. So this is known as damage or deterioration of goods. In this case also, the duty is reduced, the duty is abated. The conditions are that where the damage is done during unloading, if the damage is done during unloading, then the assistant commissioner is satisfied that after examination that the goods are destroyed and duty can be reduced. If the goods are damaged after unloading but before physical examination, if the goods are damaged after unloading but before the physical examination, in that case, obviously the officer has to be satisfied, plus the damage should happen only on account of an accident. Accident should necessarily take place. No, not due to any willful act or negligence default of the importer. So, the officer will check if the damage is done after unloading, that, the damage is because of the negligence of the importer, or is it due to some genuine accident. If it is due to some genuine accident, then the claim will be allowed of reduction of custom duty. If it is not due to genuine accident, it is due to willful act of the importer, then guys, the custom duty will be levied in this particular case. Okay. So now you need to really understand that at which stage is your goods damaged or deteriorated. Next is, what is the duty which is to be charged on the goods? Duty which is charged on the goods, duty which is charged on these damaged goods, these duty, the proportionate duty which is to be reduced on the goods, that is duty on goods before damage. What is the duty on the good before damage? Value of the damage of the goods. What is the value of damaged goods? And what is the value before damage of the entire good? So this is just a pro rata computation of how the damage will be ascertained, how the goods damage will be ascertained. It is just on a pro rata basis that the damage of the goods, the duty which is to be refunded, is to be ascertained in this particular manner. Okay. Now let me show you a diagram through which you will be able to understand that, what is the stage at which damage is to be done and when the duty will be relieved. Okay. Yes, it is just like unitary method. Absolutely. Okay. This is the chart. This is the chart which you can see on your screen. So this chart starts with, before unloading, before unloading, the good is just in the ship and it is at the coastal places. It is at the coast. That is the stage where the good is there, which is before unloading. During unloading, during the course of unloading from the ship to the port, that is during unloading. After unloading, where the goods has been transferred from the ship to the port, that is after unloading. Then physical examination happens of this particular good at the third stage. Fourth stage is when the order of deposit of goods to warehouse or order of clearance of the goods for home consumption is passed by the proper officer. It is stage number 4. Okay. Goods can either be cleared for the home consumption, which means it can be sent to the domestic tariff area, or they can be deposited at the warehouse, which are located, bonded warehouse which are located at the customs. The goods can be deposited over there. So both the condition can be there in stage 4. Then stage 5, clearance for home consumption. The goods get cleared for home consumption actually physically. Over here only order is passed. Over here goods are actually cleared for home consumption, and the goods are cleared from a warehouse for the home consumption. That is the 6th, 5th and 6th stage which is there. Now coming on to when is all these remission, cessation be applicable. Let's see this chart. Okay, so guys, these are the stages. Okay, now okay, these are the stages. So we have just seen the abatement or reduction of duty. If you want the abatement or reduction of duty to damage or deterioration, then it can happen without any restriction only till the unloading phase. Only if the damage has been done during unloaded phase, then abatement will happen without restriction. But abatement will happen with restriction during this phase, that is after unloading but before physical examination. During this stage, the abatement can happen without restriction. Without restriction means the restriction of accident, that the goods have been damaged because of accident, that is the restriction. So that restriction is applicable only during this particular period, which is between the unloading and the physical examination of goods. Now, when will pilfered goods be duty be relieved from? So in case of pilfered goods, guys, pilfered means when you get your goods stolen, when your goods are stolen. So when your goods are stolen, in that case, guys, when your goods are stolen, in that case, no lag, no lag. Okay, is there a lag? No lag, no lag. Okay, please tell me if there's a lag. Okay, so when pilfered goods are there, when goods are stolen, guys, no duty is leviable during that stage. And what is that stage? That stage is after we unload the goods till the time the order for home consumption is given by the relevant officer. During this phase, the duty is relieved from the pilfered goods. In case of pilfered goods, duty is not leviable during this phase. This is the phase when the duty is not leviable. That is after unloading of the goods till the time the order for deposit of the goods in warehouse or order for home consumption is released. During this period, if the goods are pilfered or stolen, then guys, we do not levy custom duty on those goods. So these are the ways in which you can learn what is the period when the duty is refunded. Okay, next is remission of duty. Remission again means a refund of duty in two cases: loss or destruction of goods. Guys, in case of damage or deterioration, there was a very small loss, but over here the entire goods have been destructed. Okay, 100% loss is there. That is the difference. And abandonment of right. Abandonment of right means the importer says that this good is not my good. The importer says that this good is not my good. This typically happens in cases where the goods which are imported from outside the country, they don't have any ready market in India. So importer has imported the goods, but he realized that the goods do not have any ready market in India, or the goods are not up to the standard which was required to be sent by the exporter. In that case, guys, the importer says that I abandon the right because the custom duty which is payable on those goods is much higher than the cost. So the importer says, I abandon the right to these goods. I don't want to pay custom duty. Let these goods stay at the customs warehouse or custom port. This is the abandonment of goods. So this can also happen. People can also do this. Now, what is the stages at which this can happen? Abandonment, remission in case of abandonment, and remission in case of deterioration and loss. So remission in case of lost or destroyed goods. This can happen between these phases before unloading and till the time it is cleared for home consumption. During this entire phase, it's a very, very big arrow, orange colored arrow. During this entire phase, remission can happen in case of lost or destroyed goods. If the goods are completely destroyed, if the goods are 100% destroyed, and this is major destruction, guys, not a very minor destruction, major destruction happens. In that case, the entire duty is refunded. Okay, so the entire duty is refunded in this case of remission. And in case of remission due to abandonment, in case of remission due to abandonment, when goods are abandoned, then guys, this can happen only between before the unloading phase, after the unloading is there, until the time order is passed by the officer for home consumption. During this phase, if you abandon your goods, then remission of duty is possible. So yes, there are phases in which the duty can be you can be relieved of the duty. There are phases, and if you cross those phases, then guys, the duty cannot be relieved from. Okay, sir. Okay, very, very important concept: power to make rules for denaturing or mutilation of goods. Now, sometimes what happens is two goods can have a separate custom duty. Good A can have separate custom duty. Good B can have separate custom duty. I'll give you a simple example. Okay. Now, there are certain chemicals. I'll talk about alcohol. Okay. Alcohol is a spirit. Okay. If I import alcohol, the basic spirit which is used in alcohol, then the custom duty will be at a different rate. But if I import alcohol which is not consumed by human, which is used in some experiments like spirit, okay, if I import that, then that will be at a lower spirit rate, at a lower custom duty. So what can people do? People can actually, while they are importing the goods, they can have a different nature of goods, and while they enter into the Indian territory, they can have a different nature of goods. This is known as mutilation or denaturing of a particular good. So to modify the molecular structure, we modify the molecular structure of the goods by heat, acid, alkali, ultraviolet radiation, and destroy some of the original properties of the goods, and especially specific biological activities. So when we change the essential characters of a particular good, that is known as mutilation or denaturing of that particular good. Now, this denaturing is permitted sometimes at the coastal area, at the coast. How? Now, a person is importing alcohol and he wants to use the alcohol for industrial purpose and not for human consumption. Government of India will say that we don't know what purpose will you put this alcohol in. So the importer has to demonstrate or has to go to the port and has to add some poisonous substance or some substance in that particular spirit, which can make that particular spirit unfit for human consumption. And government will permit it. Government is asking you, what is the use of this particular alcohol that you're going to take? Government is going to ask you. And then what will government say? Government will say, so Nikhil Pediwal says, ट्रिप पर जाने के लिए क्राइटेरिया है मैक्सिमम नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स हैं इस वीडियो के. वेरी वेरी गुड क्राइटेरिया. So yes guys, those students who are going to share this particular video with maximum of students and who are going to put a like on this video, those students will be on a trip which is financed by Mr. Nikhil Pediwal. Wow, wow, wow. He's a CMA student. Okay, yes guys, so this is the denaturing and mutilation of substances. So this denaturing and mutilation of substances is permitted by the central government at the port area if they demonstrate that the goods are to be changed in the nature so that lesser amount of custom duty is applicable on it. So yes, this was your customs duty basic chapter. Okay, basic chapter. Now let us start the next chapter, which can be, yes, which is the next chapter of custom duty. So guys, custom duty is very, very small. Okay, please don't leave any part of custom duty unread. Amir Pediwal. Good. Okay. So now guys, we are going to start the valuation part. How to do the valuation for determining the custom duty. How to value any good for determining the custom duty. That is what we are going to start now. Okay. Pooja says, from where to download notes? Pooja, these notes can be downloaded from your institute website. I teach entirely from CMA Study Mat Institute, CMA Study Mat of the institute. So you can download these the notes from the Study Mat Institute, and you will find all my teachings, all my lecture as it is from Study Mat of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. Yes, guys. All right. So guys, custom duty. Now we are starting valuation of custom duty. How to value the goods according to custom duty, and that valuation has to be done as per the methods and rules which are prescribed under the custom duty. Now, how to value the goods for custom duty? Custom duty can be of two types: specific duty, ad valorem duty. We've already discussed the specific duty and ad valorem duty. Ad valorem duty is levied as per the value of the good, and specific duty is levied as per the not as per the value of the good, but as per the specific amount of duty which is levied on import of that particular substance. Okay, so valuation of for the purpose of custom duty, valuation of goods can be done in any of the following manner. First is transaction value, and the most primary method and the most useful method, transaction value. If transaction value fails, then identical goods method. similar goods method, deductive value, computed value, residual value. This sequence is to be followed according to the rules which are given, which means that you have to first try to find your value according to identical goods. If you fail, then you try to find a value of similar goods. If you again fail, then you try to find value of deducted goods, so on and so forth. This is how the value is to be computed as per the secondary methods, guys. These are the secondary methods according to the valuation techniques or the valuation chapter. These are the secondary methods. So we have two methods in place, primary method and the secondary method of valuation of custom duty. Now, first of all, we come on to the primary method, which is the transaction value. This is the primary method, which is the transaction value. Now, guys, in case where the goods are sold to an unrelated party, in which the goods are exported to an unrelated party, there are certain conditions for its applicability. Number one, goods are imported to an unrelated party. Then second is price is the sole consideration. We have not taken anything else apart from price as the consideration. Then the business is done as per the ordinary course of trade. Fully competitive conditions are there. We are not doing business according to some charity. So sometimes, government of India sends good outside India for some charity, or they import goods for some charitable purposes. So if something is lacking in India due to some earthquake or something, if resources are less, then all the governments help Indian government. Okay, that is not covered under transaction value. So the business should happen as per the ordinary course of business, and fully competitive conditions should be there for business if you want to apply the transaction value principle. Otherwise, you apply other principles. Then no restriction on disposition of goods. So sometimes how to utilize the goods, this restriction is created by the exporter who's sending the goods from outside the country. How, to whom should you distribute these goods, to India, etc., etc. If these restrictions are there, then transaction value cannot be applied in valuing the imported goods. Then last is no part of subsequent sale must be shared with the seller. So what happens is, sometimes instead of giving an initial discount, what does importer importer commits that once the goods have reached India, then I will remit you some part of the price. So if that remission agreement is there, then this particular method is not applicable in the valuation technique. Okay. So yes. Okay, so if these conditions are satisfied, then your transaction value principles can be applied. If these conditions are not satisfied, then your transaction value principle cannot be applied. That is the consideration, that is the condition which is to be thought of. Okay. Then what do you mean by transaction value? What are the things which are included in transaction value? So things which are included in transaction value are, number one, price actually paid or payable by the importer. Whatever price the importer has already paid or it is payable by the importer, that should be the transaction value. Okay, next is commission of brokerage, if any, which is payable on these imports, except for buying commission. So guys, buying commission is not permissible to be added in these value of exports, value of imports. Other than buying commission, you can add any other commission which is paid on importing this particular good. Then what do you add next? Free of charge supplies by the buyer. If buyer is sending some things free of cost, if the buyer is supplying something free of cost, okay, then those costs should be added in the transaction value. So free of charge supplies by the buyer, which includes material, tools, modes, components, parts, engineering, development, design work, plans, sketches undertaken elsewhere than in India. So if all these things are imported to the Indian country, and these are supplied free of charge by the supplier. So sometimes I'll give you an example of this. Okay, sometimes what happens is, so I ask someone from Italy to prepare a car for me. The Italian company is preparing a car for me. Now I tell the Italian company, look, Italian company, the gearbox should be my gearbox, which I produce, which I manufacture. You cannot have gearbox of some other company in my car. So I will supply the gearbox to you. Now guys, when I will supply the gearbox to you, then naturally the cost which is incurred by that Italian company for making this car reduces. Okay. But the car which is coming into India has got the gearbox as well. So we will treat that gearbox also as an imported component, and we will add its price to the transaction value. That is the idea behind this particular clause. Free of charge supplies by the buyer to the seller. Free of charge supply by the importer to the exporter. This is to be added while computing the value of the good. Next is royalty license fees, that is to be paid as a condition of sale. So if you pay any royalties and license fees for using that good, so if I'm importing certain goods and I have to pay royalties and licenses for using the logo of that particular company, using the marketing inputs of that particular company, I'm paying some royalty, and it is a condition of sale, which means it's a mandatory thing to be added. Guys, in that case, this is to be added while computing the value of that particular import. It is always to be added. Okay. Then proceeds of subsequent resale to the seller. Sometimes what happens is, we import good at a particular price, and if the goods are selling good in market, then we commit the exporter that, okay, a price which is a portion of the income which I earn in India, that I will be sharing with you. That price is to be added in the cost of transaction. Transaction value should be enhanced by that particular price. Proceeds of subsequent resale to the seller. And any other payment to seller or third party on behalf of the seller, any other payment which is paid to a third party on behalf of the seller, that is to be added while computing the transaction value. So in a nutshell, transaction value includes everything which is there, everything which is included while paying the cost of the goods. Everything should be added in the transaction value. Now, there are certain costs which are not to be included in the transaction value. There are certain costs which are not to be included in the transaction value. What are those costs? So costs which are not to be included in the transaction value are unloading and landing charges at the place of importation. Please note, this is at the place of importation and not at the place of exportation. This is at the place of importation. So at the place of importation, if you pay any unloading charges or landing charges, then that is not to be added in the transaction value. That is not to be added in the cost of the transaction value. If at the importation, at the place of importation, any unloading or landing charges is paid, not to be added. Okay. Now the question can trick you. Question can say that unloading and landing charges in the place of exportation, that is to be added. Place of exportation, that is to be added. Place of importation, not to be added. Point to be noted over here. Okay. So this is not to be added. Then any demurrage charges, guys. Demurrage charges means that the duty that you are paying for delayed clearing of goods from the port. So port also is incurring some carrying cost of that particular good which has been imported by you. So if you delay in clearing those goods, then the port can charge you demurrage charges. But certain demurrage charges are includable. Generally, demurrage charges are not includable, but certain demurrage charges are includable. What are those demurrage charges? Demurrage charges paid for chartered vessel. So if you have got a vessel specially chartered, charter means hired vessel. Okay. If you have booked the entire vessel and you're sending the goods through a vessel, then any demurrage charges paid by that particular vessel has to be added in the customs duty computation. Lighterage barge charges. Lighterage charges or bar charges are to be added while computing the value in case of delayed payment or delayed relieving of the goods. Okay. So demurrage charges not to be added in general. Duties and taxes paid in India not to be added in general. Duties and taxes which are paid in India, they are not to be added in the value of transaction value. Cost of erection charges in India, if any charge is levied in India for installing that particular good in India, or installing or erecting that particular good in the soil of the India, cement is poured in and the machinery is installed, then guys, that is not to be added while computing the transaction value. Then freight insurance from port to factory of the importer in the country. So guys, when the goods come inside the country, then they come inside the port. Okay. Then from the port to the factory of the importer, the shipment is paid. Okay. That is not that is actually cargo. Trucks, trolleys will be used to transfer the goods from the port to the factory of the importer. Now, any conveyance, any freight, any insurance which is paid during that time is not to be included in the transaction value. It's not to be included in the transaction value. Okay. अमीरता दिखाता है chartered vessel. Good thought. Okay. Next, development charges, or if imported machinery. If imported machinery has any development charges, you're developing that machinery after it has come into India, then those development charges are not to be added in computation of the value of import. Any other charges paid after importation, any other charges which is paid after the importation, be it any charges which are occurred in the port, that is not to be added in the computation of transaction value. So these are the costs that are not to be included in the transaction value. This is very, very, very important. Okay. Now, guys, an important provision: if the transport cost or the insurance cost is unascertainable, then Government of India has provision of adding a bit of it. Even if it's unascertainable, then a portion of it has to be added on a percentage basis. 20%, 1.125%. On a percentage basis, some portion should be added. So if you say that, I have imported the goods, but I don't know what is the transportation cost. I have imported the goods, but I don't know what's the insurance cost, because insurance cost has been borne by someone else. In that case, Government of India says for calculating the customs duty, you will add on an approximate basis what is the value of transportation cost and insurance cost in the value of the imported goods. What is the percentage? If you import by air, then 20% of the adjusted FOB price is there. Even when it is ascertainable, air transport cost is subject to maximum of 20% of adjusted FOB. So even when the goods are, the air transport is ascertainable, even then it cannot exceed more than 20% of FOB. In any other mode of conveyance, like a ship, okay, 20% of adjusted FOB is the condition, but this condition is not there over here. It is 20%, but without this condition. Okay. Now, coming on to what is the rate of foreign exchange which is to be used. What is the rate of foreign exchange which is to be used? Okay, because foreign exchange might vary, okay, according to the date of import, date when shipment has arrived into India, etc., etc. The foreign exchange rate might vary. Now, which rate to be used? First of all, the rate which is specified by the CBIC, Central, this is the Indirect Taxes and Customs agency. Now, whatever rate is prescribed by the Central Board of Indirect and Customs, that rate is applicable. Okay, RBI rate is irrelevant, Foreign Exchange Dealers Association rate is irrelevant, actual rate is irrelevant. All these rates are irrelevant. Only the board's rate, which is specified by the board, is relevant. And the board specifies this rate once in a month. That's it. A rate is determined for the entire month. Okay. Now, relevant date. What is the relevant date on which the bill of exchange, the bill of the duty is to be levied? In case of imports, it should be date on which bill of entry is presented. So when import is there, then bill of entry is presented. As soon as the bill of entry is presented on that particular date, whatever is the rate, it is to be applied. In case of exports, the date when the bill of export is presented. Same condition, guys. Over here it is bill of entry, over here is bill of export. So when your bill of entry and bill of export is presented, because the rate is written on the bill of entry itself, on the BOE itself, the rate of exchange is written. So that rate is to be taken as the rate of foreign exchange, because there are multiple rates and multiple dates. We'll all get confused if we use different rates at different point of time. Okay, sir. Now coming on to the next rule of valuation, which is the similar goods or identical goods. Okay. In case of similar goods or identical goods, the valuation is done according to this particular rule number 4 and 5. Rule number 4 and 5. Okay. So rule number 4, rule number 5. Transaction value of identical goods or similar goods. Identical goods means exactly same, which is exactly alike. Identical goods means not exactly same, but similar in their features, similar in their use and utility. Okay. Now, transaction value in case of identical goods or similar goods, what will be the transaction value? Let us study. First of all, the applicability. What is the applicability of this particular rule, which is the transaction value of identical goods or similar goods? Applicability is production should be done in the same country. Okay. So, if I'm importing some good from say USA, okay, but I cannot apply the transaction value, the initial rule which we have studied. Now, to apply this rule, I will have to find some identical good, but the condition is that the import should happen from the same country in which from which I am importing my original good. Suppose my original good I am importing from USA. The identical good also I should, the price of which I am considering for my original good, that would also be imported from the same country, which is USA. Country of exportation should be the same. To use identical goods price as my goods price, as the original goods price. That is a very, very, very important consideration over here. So production should be imported from the same country. Produced by the same or different person. Production can be done by the same person. It's best if it is done by the same person. But even if it's not done by the same person, it's okay. It's okay, not a problem. Then sold at same commercial level and quantity. Now, guys, what happens is, sometimes goods, if you buy goods in bulk in huge commercial quantity, then huge amount of discount can be available to you. Now, if you are doing that, then similar goods, the transaction value of identical or similar goods is not applicable, and the goods are to be sold at the same commercial level. Only then the identical goods or similar goods value can be taken. So goods should be sold at the same commercial level. Sold at about the same timing of the sale of the goods should be similar, okay? And the similar party, the similar identical goods from which the party from which the identical or similar goods are purchased, that party should be the unrelated party and not the related party. This is the most important thing. Yes, commercial level means wholesaler, retailer, same number of units should be there in case of the commercial level. Commercial level should be the same. Exception: similar identical goods where engineering, drawing, design was done in India shall not be taken as the comparable goods under this rule. Very, very important point, guys. If the similar identical goods where engineering and drawing is done in India, that is not to be taken as the comparable good. The reason is very, very clear, guys, that if the design and engineering is done in India, and if that engineering design was done outside India, there would have been a mismatch in the amount. The amount would have been mismatched. So this is an exception to this rule, that identical similar goods is not allowed to be compared if the design and drawing is done in India. That is not permissible. Okay, sir, got it? So this was your valuation second technique. Okay. Okay, now we are left with two more methods of computation of value. Okay, we've done transaction value, we've done similar goods value and same goods value. Now we are left with two other methods. Two other methods are the deductive method and the computation method. The deductive method and the computation method. Okay, now okay, so let us come to the next method. Identical goods, similar goods. Guys, this is actually the study mat of the institute. So do not worry, where are these notes coming from? No. They're not coming from anywhere else. They're coming from the study mat institute. Next is the deductive value method. Okay, this is a mathematical guys way of computing the value of the imported goods. This is known as the deductive value method. In this method, we are going to deduce the value. We are going to compute the value of the imported goods. We'll take the selling price in India. At whatever price these goods are sold in India, we'll take the selling price of the greatest aggregate quantity, less usual commissions of sale in India. If while selling in India, we are paying some commission, we are going to reduce it. Okay. Then we are going to reduce the usual profits and expenses incurred for sales in India. Whatever profits and sales are incurred in India, those we are going to reduce. Then we are going to reduce the cost of transportation. We are going to reduce the custom duty, which is taxes payable in India, and we are going to compute the value of it. So it's a reverse calculation of the value of import, the value of customs. Okay, value of import. Okay, this is a reverse calculation. In this reverse calculation, we are going to compute the value of imports, and while finding this value of imports, we will find the amount of custom duty. After finding the value of imports, we'll find the amount of custom duty. Okay, that is how we compute the value in this particular. This is the deductive method. Okay, we start with selling price in India, less usual commission, less all the expenses which have been incurred in India for making this particular sale. Last will be the value of import. So this is a method which is the computation method. Okay, sir. Then next one is computed value method. Okay. In this, guys, we are going to compute the value of the imported good. We are going to ask the exporter, dear Mr. Exporter, please give us the cost of material, cost of general expenses, cost of transportation which you have incurred. We will aggregate all of them and we will find the value of imports. However, this is rare. It is unlikely that exporter is going to give you this confidential information. This is a confidential information. Therefore, the exporter is not going to give this information to all of you. Okay. Last is the residual method. Residual method is, you can use any method which is consistent to the methods which have been discussed earlier. This is the residual method. So yes, these were the methods which are used to compute the value of the imports. Now we will go on to the methods which are used to value the exports. But before that, guys, I am feeling so dizzy today. I am feeling lack of energy. So please give me some energy. Please give me some energy, guys. Please give me some energy, guys. I am feeling so lack of energy. I'm feeling energyless. I'm feeling dizzy. Please give me some energy. I need some energy from all of you to continue this lecture. You know that I need this petrol and I need this energy from all of you. Yes, Uday Sahu has given thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Please like this live stream also and share it with your friends. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. साई लड़ाई करके आए कमिटमेंट से Kajal got say thumbs up, superb, thumbs up. Who else? Please give thumbs up. आज मेरे पास सैंडविच है. कीर्ति has given me cheese sandwich. Thank you, Kirti. Anurag says thumbs up. And yo-yo sign. Lavanya says petrol. Kirti says thumbs up. All right, guys. Now I am full of energy back and we'll be starting the methods of valuation of export now. Methods of valuation of exported goods. What are the methods which are used for valuation of exported goods? Chirag gives me some, I don't know what is it. It's a momos or it is, I don't know what is it. Salad. Okay, sir. Chirag has given me salad. Sundareshan Nagarajan says, I love all your lectures. Thank you, Sundareshan. आज लास्ट भारी पेट्रोल दे रहे हैं. लास्ट भारी भारी आप हल्का पेट्रोल आपने कब दिया है? हाँ, हल्का पेट्रोल आपने कभी दिया ही नहीं है. रोने जा रही हूँ. रोगी क्या तुम? रुलाओगे सबको. If you're down, the whole class will be down, sir. No, I am now not down. I am up and running back again with all of you, Reshma Rajkumar. All right, the next is the methods which are used for valuation of exports. What are the methods which are used for valuation of exports? We are going to study that. Again, sequential application will happen, which means you first have to use the transaction value, then the goods of like quality and kind, then the computed value, and then the residual value. This is a sequence in which the valuation of exported goods will be done by all of you. Okay. So we'll start with the transaction value. And yes, guys, transaction value, you are very much aware about the transaction value. Transaction value is applicable only where the supply is done to an unrelated party and price is the sole consideration. These two things are very, very important in case of the transaction value. Okay. Oh, yes, sure. I will also take live classes in CMA Final. Yes. Sakshi has given me a milk bottle, those which are given to the toddlers. Okay, so transaction value is the value which is applicable in case of import to an unrelated party or where the price is the sole consideration. If these two things are satisfied, then transaction value can be taken in this particular case. Okay. If this is not the case, if this is not the method which is applicable because of non-fulfillment of either of these two conditions, then goods of like kind and quality are to be taken. Goods of like kind and like quality, which means similar goods are to be taken. Now, while taking the similar goods, things to be remembered are they can be exported to same or different country. So in case of import, they had to be imported from the same country, but over here they can be exported out to either the same country or the different country, doesn't matter. At or about the same time should be the same of the like good and the original goods which is being valued. Then similar quantity, commercial levels should be similar in this particular case, and similar composition, quality, design, everything should be similar in this particular case. Adjustment may be made for any differences. If any differences are there, then adjustment can be made in those things. Okay. Then the computed value, we'll calculate the value using this formula, which is cost of production plus charges of brand design plus profit. And the residual value means any other method which can be used to compute the value of the exported goods, which is consistent with the principles of these goods, these rules, that will be the residual value. So either of these methods can be used for computation of the value of exported goods. Exported goods can vary. Okay, got it. Yes, guys. Who would know that a subject like DT can also be easy? Very good comment by Zainab. But she's saying it is done by MBV. No, it is not done by MBV. It is done by the one and only Nikkhil Gupta Sir. CSCS CMA Nikkhil Gupta Sir. And no one can steal the name and the brand. Otherwise, I will make an FIR against that person who's stealing my name and my brand. Okay, sir. So this is valuation of exports. So yes, by this we conclude our this section also. All the methods have been covered by me in this particular section. And yes, we have finished this particular chapter as well. And now we move on to the last part of this particular chapter. Yes. And the last chapter is rates of duties and tariff value. Last chapter is rates of duties and tariff value. Let us start the last aspect of this particular chapter. Okay. Now, guys, very, very important. And yes, for a few more minutes, I need your attention because a very, very important topic we are going to start now. Okay. Name of the topic is date of determination of rate of duty and tariff value. What is the date at which the rate of duty is computed? That is what we are going to see. Sir, I have done 100% of IDT and 5 heads of income of DT. Is it okay to pass DITX? No, it is not okay to pass DITX. Apart from five heads, you should also do residential status and direct taxation. You should also do assessment of various persons in direct taxation. You should also do clubbing and set off. You should also do TDS. If you do this bit, then you are sure that you will pass in DITX. You will get good marks. Okay. Okay, sir. Okay. Now, what will be the date of determination of rate of duty? Because rate of duty can vary according to the different dates. Okay. So when goods have reached the port, then they are unloaded, then they are examined, then they are cleared for own consumption, then they actually get to the importer. So there are different benchmarks which are there in the journey of imported goods. Now, what is the date on which a rate of duty is to be taken? Because rate might change according to the date of date at which the import happens. So now, what is the rate of duty? How to determine the rate of duty? That is what we are going to study now. In case of goods entered for home consumption, if the goods are entered for home consumption, then the date on which duty is to be seen is bill of entry presented before entry inward. Ship has entered later on and bill of entry is presented before. Then duty as on date inward rate. Whenever the the ship enters the port, then the duty rate should be taken. Bill of entry is presented after entry inward. So bill of entry is presented later. Entry inward has done earlier. Then the rate on the date of bill of entry is to be taken. What is bill of entry? It is a document which is to be filled by the exporter in case of any import. Actually, it can be filled by the importer also. Okay. So when bill of entry is presented after entry inward, then rate on date of bill of entry is the relevant duty rate. When goods are cleared for bonded warehouse and not home consumption, good will not travel to the country. Good will travel to the bonded warehouse. In that case, duty rate on date of ex bond bill of entry. Ex bond means when the goods will leave the bonded warehouse at that point in time, whatever is the bill of entry date, on that date, whatever is the duty rate is to be taken as the duty rate also. Okay. Then In any other case, like judge sum, derelict, float sum, etc., duty rate on date of payment of duty. Whenever the payment is done in case of these four cases, then the duty rate is to be taken from that particular date as soon as the payment of duty happens. Okay. Now, in case of exports, when good entered for export, when the goods are entered for export, then duty rate on the date of order permitting clearance of goods. The order permitting clearance of goods, that order, whenever that order is passed, the duty rate at the time of that order is the relevant date of duty. And whenever, in any other case, when the goods are not entered for export, so in any other case, duty rate on date of payment of duty, whenever the duty is paid, at that point in time, the rate of the duty is to be ascertained. So these are the relevant dates for determination of duty of export or import, which is leviable on the goods. Okay, an important section, and yes, a theoretical question can come from this particular aspect, which is requiring you to determine the rate of duty. Okay, sir, got it. And yes, absolutely, guys. So by this, we finish our marathon on custom duty and marathon on GST. Guys, please join the test series. Test series is going on. Test series is so important from a from point of view of examination, that test series is going to tell you what is your status, what is your condition in the examination, what is your level of preparation. That will be ascertained by the test series. So please give test series properly and religiously. If you want to give test series, then the numbers are flashing on the screen. I'll point out the numbers, and you can just WhatsApp on this number. This is the number. Yes, this is the number. You can just WhatsApp on this number and tell that you want to join the test series which is going on for CMA Intermediate, and you'll be added to the WhatsApp group, and then you will be giving online test for CMA Intermediate, direct taxation, indirect taxation, and audit. All three subjects are covered. Okay. Now this is the end of our marathon of GST and customs duty. And yes, marathon of DT is already there in our channel. On our channel, the marathon is already there. And yes, before I sign off this marathon, I would want to definitely talk to you about something. Okay. So guys, what happens is whenever we are struggling hard, then whenever we are struggling with our lives, whenever we are struggling with our goals which we need to achieve, then this struggle becomes sometimes overwhelming, which means we feel that whether this struggle will be worth it or not, whether the struggle will be worth the time and effort that we are spending, whether we'll be successful or not. All these self-doubt questions will arise in your mind whenever you are working towards your goals and you're working really hard. Yes, I know all of you might be putting in, say, 8 to 10 hours per day in your studies. You might not get time to meet your friends, celebrate the birthday parties, etc., etc. You might not be able to do that. And if you're not able to do that, then guys, there's some lack which you feel that yes, something is lacking, something is missing. Now, what is the reassurance that we'll get something good out of all this? So let me tell you my story. Let me share my story, which is a beautiful story of me qualifying CA. I'll tell you when I qualified CA, then what happened with me. Now, I qualified my CA first attempt, both the groups, CA Final I'm talking about. And that at that point of time, guys, I was sitting at the client's place. I was in an audit and I was sitting at the client's place, although I was not in a mood to study at all or work at all at that day, because I was very anxious. I was very, very nervous for my results. And my second group didn't go well at all. It was terrible. My second group was very bad. I mean, I was not expecting to clear the second group, and I told my my mom also that I'll not be able to clear the second group, most likely. But then when that thing happened, I was still hopeful for the first group. So yes, I scrolled down my result. I was sitting at the client's place and I scrolled down the result. And as soon as the result came, I just saw the first group, and it said pass. I was scoring 204 marks out of 200. I got relief that yes, one group is at least qualified. Then I scrolled the second group. I scrolled the screen and I said, I saw the second group, and the second group also was passed. And it was written final completed. And I suddenly shouted at top of my voice, yes! And the entire floor of my office was looking at me. What has happened to this mad boy? Why is he shouting? My manager came out of his room, and he knew that my result was there. He hugged me, he shook hands with me, and he said, "Congratulations, you are CA Nikkhil Gupta now." And that feeling of hearing that those words before your name instead of Mr. or Miss, hearing those words CA, CS, or CMA is a beautiful moment, guys. Beautiful moment. Soon after this particular scene, I called up my mother and I told my mother that, um, um, Mom, I cleared. Then she said that, "Oh wow, you cleared the first group," because my mom knew that the second group didn't go well. So she said, "Okay, you cleared the first group. Many congratulations. You are already a half CA. Very good. Now give one more attempt with dedication. You'll be full CA. Amazing." I said, "Mom, I cleared both the groups. I am a CA now." I said this with a lot of enthusiasm and with a lot of passion, a lot of happiness. And from the other side, I faced silence. It was dead silence. For 5 seconds, it was absolutely silent from the other side of the call. And suddenly, the phone was received by my grandfather. And my grandfather took the phone and said, "What happened? What happened to your result?" I said, "I qualified." He said, "Congratulations, many congratulations. Come home early. We will celebrate. We will party today." And guys, during that day, of course, I couldn't work properly because that moment I was not in my senses to work properly. I couldn't work properly. So I just went home in half day. And my grandfather was standing in front of me like this, spreading his arms tightly, wanting and desperately, eagerly looking forward to hug me. Tightly, he wanted to hug me. And yes, he hugged me tightly. And then I asked my grandfather, "Where's mom?" My grandfather told me that she's calling every relative and telling, "CA ban gaya Nikhil, Nikhil CA ban gaya, Nikhil CA ban gaya, Nikhil CA ban gaya." He's calling everyone. She's calling everyone, and she is saying Nikhil CA ban gaya. And after that, I asked my grandfather, why did my mother not speak anything at that point in time? Why was there a 5 seconds of silence on the phone when I called her and told her that I have qualified CA? My grandfather said, soon as you informed her that you've become a CA, some tears rolled out from her eyes and she ran to the temple and she prayed. She thanked the God on your behalf. And some tears rolled down her eyes. And guys, trust me, those 5 seconds of silence was the most beautiful words my mom has ever said to me. Those 5 seconds of silence was meant the world to me. And yes, you cannot withstand your mom in tears. But these tears, tears of happiness, tears of proud, you want to see in your mom's eyes again and again and again. These were the best moments of my life. And yes, I want to relive these moments. But I know that no amount of money, no amount of physical, material stuff can replace that moment, and it cannot bring that happiness and tears in my mother's eyes, which happened at that point in time. It can never come back. So, yes, you also are determined to experience that goosebumps moment, that aha moment in your life when your mother and father will cry because of happiness which you gave to your mother and father. Just wait for that moment to happen. It will happen very, very soon in your case. Just keep working hard. And this will be a guiding factor. This will be a motivation. This will be a lighting torch in your hands that will motivate you to achieve your goals to the fullest extent. And yes, even after qualifying CS and CMA, I was given the same expressions. I was given the same happiness which my mom gave me after the first degree which I took. So you also eagerly can wait for this moment and can be rest assured that if you achieve that happiness, then you will have this moment in your life for the sure. And you will cherish this moment for your entire life. So yes, this was the story which I want to share with all of you, just to motivate you. That is, don't worry if you are facing a lot of difficulties, a lot of challenges, a lot of disturbances in your life, and if you are feeling that there is no way in which we are fulfilling our desires, or we are not, we are curtailing ourselves, don't feel that, because the moment that you will get after you qualify, a CMA will be unparalleled, and all these sacrifices, all these efforts, all this midnight oil will be absolutely worth it. It will be worth it. So yes, that's all from my side today in this particular session. Yes, I'll be coming up with more sessions on various topics on this YouTube channel. So please subscribe this YouTube channel if you've not subscribed it as yet, because a lot of things are yet to come. And yes, all the very best and happy studying. Bye-bye.